workers and the people who own the businesses. And they kept things sort of evenly distributed. Now it's just the opposite.
Well,
now there's a group of people who have control of everything. The middle class and the poor are just...
I would say that if we didn't have the oligarchy that we had, if we had a government that was trimmed down to just protecting your life, liberty, and property, what you would have seen during this whole financial crisis is actually people going to jail. Because libertarians believe that the one use for the government is to prevent fraud. And I would have to say that I'm a firm believer that our government has committed fraud during the course of all of it. So if there's one thing that we can say, it's that government should prevent fraud, and if everybody knew that they were on the hook. But people don't feel like they're on the hook. You know, they don't feel like, the rich people, the big ones, they feel like they got government in their pocket. And for the most part, they do. Yes, sir.
Our country's progress, certain views of history, certain histories, every history seems to be different, is marked by the great labor movements, about 100 years ago especially. What do you think about all that?
Didn't I do a speech on the war on terror? The great labor movements. Well, I mean, I think that if people want to get together and form a contract and form a movement, that they should. Here's the problem. Why does the government have to be involved in that? Was the government involved? I don't have any problem with some free market labor movement if people want to get together and say we're not doing this for this many, and then also if you don't give us better wages.
Well, I'm asking you because you're a politician. And
I'm not a politician. Don't you dare.
You ran for Congress, didn't you?
Yeah, I know, but I'm more of a hate spewer of politicians. All right, but
well, okay. So you would think it's all right to have a union?
I think it's all right to have a union. Why would I not? But what I'm saying is I don't think it's the government's job to say that you have to have a union or you should have a union. If people want to form a union, you should form a union, and then you compete. And then if you're out competed, then that's the way it goes.
Yeah, you asked me a question. You said why would I think not? Because you're pretty much straight libertarian.
Yeah.
And I'm not one, so I don't know them as well as you do, but it seems like a free market religion, kind of.
Well, it's
and I don't
there's things that people misunderstand.
That.
Like, in other words, libertarians aren't necessarily for corporation. Or at all, necessarily. A corporation is actually a government-sanctioned ability to cheat, if you want it. So that's not a free market. If a corporation was allowed to fail without the people being around it, that would be a whole different story. But a lot of people take risks as corporations because they know they can go bankrupt without anything happening to the people who have created the corporation. So most people don't understand that that's a libertarian. So it's like if these people in the board of directors realized that their skin was actually really in this game, they weren't just taking the profits and socializing the losses, then you'd actually see corporations acting a lot different. And I think that's a libertarian.
What do you feel like, say like the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation?
Well, why does it have to be the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation? I don't. Constitutionally speaking,
who else is going to do it?
Well, the states could do it if they wanted to.
Some states do.
But some states do. But I myself don't necessarily think that it's not something that I agree with per se, because I think that it also puts it's one of those things that allows banks to take risks. And I think everybody misunstands libertarians, really.
I don't think I do.
Okay, but it's just that it makes banks take risks that they wouldn't take normally because they're covered. And then they socialize the losses and they profitize the gains.